What if we are the last of the artists? What happens if we are the last artists and the last generations of people left to inhabit this planet? What if environmental apocalypse is just around the corner? What if everything we have made, every song that has been sung, every piece of art is for nothing? What does the notion of the word oblivion mean? It is my speculation that Edward Bunting faced a dilemma of this magnitude, and if he had not made his intervention, we would not have our signature Irish harp. History had not been kind to the Irish harper. By the 18th century, they had really fallen from grace, and there was a real danger that the Irish harp, and indeed the music, was going to disappear entirely. Irish harpers had occupied a place of enormous importance in the medieval era, and to have one in your home or in your locality was regarded with great prestige. They were the soothsayers of historic Ireland. Harpists were regarded as kind of mythical beings in a way. They grew their nails extremely long so that they could pluck the wire strings of their harps. But not everybody loved the sound of the harp music. Queen Elizabeth I decreed that all harpists were vagabonds and should be strung up by the necks until they were dead by the very strings that they played. By the 15th and 16th centuries, Irish harp music received royal edicts that it should be eradicated. Irish harp music was on the decline, the harpists were dying out, and had Bunting not made an intervention, it would have all been lost to oblivion.
I've been commissioned by the Irish Traditional Music Archive and Music Network to respond to the Bunting archives. So I approached 3 very unique artists about possible collaboration, asking them, what is the role of artists in a time of great uncertainty? The starting point is the Bunting archives. By saving these 66 scores and writing them down, Bunting saved the harp from going into permanent erasure. I've taken a piece of music from this collection, the Lamentations of Eoin Roe O'Neill. The original composition is accredited to the blind harpist Turlough O'Carolan. O'Carolan lost his sight during the smallpox epidemic when he was a child. The theme of blindness and sight and sound becomes an overarching moment in the work. The first of my 3 collaborators is the acclaimed musician Aisling Lyons. My partner Cathal Murphy is a musician and a composer, and he is currently helping me rework the original score. I want to look at the idea of slowing things down or unplaying things, and what does that sound like? The score will be unusual because we are also merging a number of different musical forms together. It's not just traditional harp, but it's also electronica and electronic pop music. We are also working with the post-producer Steve Shannon, who's mastering the file for a 5.1 architectural sound to accompany this installation. How do you create a sound unstrung? That's one of the kind of concepts that I'm working with this track. The second artist that I've approached in this collaboration is the Inuit electronica pop singer ᖃ. ᖃ is an incredible musician. She's doing something extremely unusual. She's contemporizing a historic art form and making it into something accessible to a multi-generational audience. Merging it with popular culture, she's also making things more accessible and also making the need for this music and traditional form more accepted and more celebrated. Rita is currently translating my English lyrics into ᖃ8túţ, spoken word, and combining them with her throat singing. The relationship to the spoken word, or the sound of the voice, and the Irish harp is evident in some of the engravings from the 16th centuries of the bardic poets in action. So this is a relationship I want to build onto, with both Rita's use of her voice and the proximity to the Irish harp.
The third collaborating artist is the conceptual artist, designer and milliner Margaret O'Connor.
Margaret is currently designing a performative costume for both the live performance and some of the filmic elements in the film.
Margaret, basically, I had to kind of put in a fake harp part just using the keyboard.
Which is what you heard on the track that we sent you, which is nothing like how beautiful Aisling the harp is. This is like magical, isn't it? So amazing.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm feeling mesmerised.
Margaret is collaborating with me on designing this performative costume worn by the three protagonists.
Traditional harpists grew their nails extremely long. That's something that we've discovered in the research. It's interesting that now we see long nails in popular culture with Cardi B or Lil Nas X. And so we're reincorporating our own version, our own interpretation of this historic costume into the performance. The crown that Margaret is designing contains a kind of an emblem, a poisoned eye, which is a kind of a mixture between Inuit and Irish symbols. Margaret is also looking at materials in this crown that reflect Irish folklore heritage, such as eel skin, which had a kind of a healing property. I live in a very beautiful part of rural Tipperary on the side of the Silvermine Mountains. The silver mines, of course, being right next to me and underneath my house. It is also the site of a huge environmental catastrophe because of this industry. The land around here is poisoned with lots of health warnings, but it is a smaller micro version of a big macro problem. The world over, the earth is becoming more and more poisoned, and scientists, linguists and anthropologists are trying to think of ways of communicating the idea of poisoned landscapes to people beyond language, when languages become redundant or the spoken word has become possibly extinct. These are the great threats that are facing us all if we have damaged the world beyond habitation. This architecture of anxiety is a motif I've used in previous works and installations. I've been researching the UCD folk archives, looking at the bardic tales, and in particular Balor's poisoned eye. He had 3 eyes. The third eye was only revealed during times of battle. The Fomorian used to reveal his eye and use it in most egregious manner of poisoning the land around him. I see this as a kind of a metaphor for our use of technology. It can achieve such great things for us, but the pollution that it causes in the making of those things is astronomical and part of the problem.
In this work, I'm bending time using CGI elements as well as historic folklore tropes.
I'm also thinking about sounds coming from the underneath, like within the mines, where we will be hoping to shoot some of the film footage in the coming weeks. There's lots of European mythology, including mythology around kind of caves in Ireland, where musicians lure the unsuspecting listener deeper and deeper within, bringing them ultimately to their death. These are magic lantern slides, very, very early versions of cinematic experiences. So again, I'm combining this ancient form of cinematic display with completely cutting edge moving image. I'm shooting a lot of this moving image work in the poisoned landscape around us. I shot a major sequence back in August 2020 during one of the breaks between lockdowns.
Okay, stay up there, darn it.
Yeah, right.
The aim was to create this poisoned landscape and this shardic monument. It's a long journey of collaboration that we're undertaking. The project is slowly weaving and coming together, and I'm very excited to say we'll have a launch and live performance at the end of 2021. I wonder if Bunting had any idea of the generation of artists that he would inspire by his endeavour to preserve the Irish harp. I'm very interested in the idea that we may be the last generation of artists. And if we are, what is our role? Is our role through the means of popular culture, traditional arts and visual arts to provoke discussion about the end of the world? Will we be like Bunting and inspire people to prevent oblivion from happening? These are the provocations of this work, and I don't know what the answers are, but I can't wait to hear what you think.